Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Discipline Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, EL Discipline. Accompanying me is your other host.
Suhey Sotomayor.
This is your discipline therapy where it's completely sucker free, judgment free, commercial free, and plenty of liberty. That good weed, yes indeed, no hate, but participate, congratulate, and appreciate. God and the ancient ancestors are great, and that means everything else is straight. Self made, and the plans are well laid. Go grab your wine, make sure the children are in bed. This is that soul food. Prepare your mind to be fed. Light it up, inhale life, and exhale strife. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are tuned in to the Discipline Therapy Podcast. We are here.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. We're gonna recap on where we left off, which was the topic was racism in America. Very touchy topic, very emotional topic. So we already went through martial law because our orange president thinks that he can just declare martial law. Black History Month is not enough. It shouldn't just be 1 month, right?
Yeah, shouldn't just be 1 month. Racism is taught. It's not
You're not born with it.
we went over that. We also went over our experiences with racism. We went over
How there's racism in Hollywood with the roles and the pay.
mm-hmm.
It also included police brutality, which is something that's really going kind of crazy. And we touched on that and how we should defund.
We said murder. Right?
Yes,
Not
well,
police brutality.
Correct.
There's been about 493 unarmed Black men and women killed, and that's as far as what
by
we
the police.
Know. As far as what we know, because it's being caught on camera. Like there's perhaps a lot more. It's just whatever is caught on camera, whatever we're witnessing into the public, it's recorded. But there's probably definitely more. You know, the lynchings, the hangings.
Yeah,
that recently,
that's crazy.
You know, but there's a lot of shit that's going on that we don't know of, that like
gets
KKK rallies,
swept under the rug, or turn a blind eye to.
Yeah. KKK rallies.
You know, there's a petition, or I think they're trying to put into law to make the KKK a terrorist group.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I don't know why they needed a petition to to do that, but I don't know why that's the only group that's allowed, under the law to still congregate and carry arms. So that makes no sense. I think we touched upon the women that have been calling the police on it was first about the gentleman in the Central Park, right? Yeah. And how I think she should be charged, but also for she was trying to get him killed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now all like there's a string of white women and now some white men that are just going crazy and telling like Asian people to go back to their countries. It's insane.
Yeah, it's easy to blame people of color. You know what I mean? Like the female in the park. You know what I mean? Like she was threatening him, what she was gonna say to the police.
Yeah, that she was being assaulted or something.
And it's crazy how someone could just like have that in their subconscious. Like I'm gonna have the benefit of the doubt because I'm white.
She's white. Yep.
You know, like it's like in her mentality, white is right in America.
Or how about the there was a couple that I saw on Instagram. Well, not them actually, but they stopped a man with stenciling Black Lives Matter on his house, an Asian Black man. Mm-hmm. And they stopped him and they were like, is this your property? Like questioning him. And then she had the nerve to say, well, I know the people who live here. So, and he was like, oh, really? Why don't you call it? Insane. That lady wound up getting fired. Her husband got fired from his job. I love when that happens because they just go on there ranting and raving. Mm-hmm. And then when they, get caught by their, jobs and they get fired, it's like, hello.
The recent stuff that's happened like last month, Breonna Taylor
Yes.
Rayshard Brooks in ATL.
Yes.
Um, like
And so many more.
it's like this, right? Like I was saying in part one, uh, what you could give a ticket for, you know, you don't have to pull out your firearm for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's not. Here's the thing: it's not being directed the same way with whites.
No.
You know, and we have, like we spoke in part one, with the like we've witnessed videos of, individuals who are white chasing cops,
Yeah. With
slapping
machetes.
cops,
Yeah.
spitting in their faces, and they're not even getting cuffed.
They're not even getting hit. They're not even getting anything.
I saw a video where this
Although
this this Caucasian male, he actually took the taser from the police officer, and there were like three other police officers just standing around.
I do think though that's changing, because I also remember a young man, 21 years old. He was like in Exterminator or something, so he had a BB gun that he used, and he was out of town, so he stayed in a hotel. For some whatever reason, somebody saw the BB gun, thought it was a real gun. They called the cops. Now this guy was a white guy.
Hmm.
The cops came, and this is what they show. Like, this is the actual footage on the body cam. They just told him, he came around the corner. They had all their guns pointed at him. They told him to, get on his knees. It was basically like Simon said with this poor kid, and they were just terrorizing him, and they wound up shooting him anyway. And he was white. It's just they're out of control, the police.
Yeah.
They need to have testing done, something, because I don't understand why, if you can't go police someplace that you're scared of.
Yeah, we talked about that in part one.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it has to do with like what they're seeing on a daily basis. With the more people of color are incarcerated
Yeah.
versus
And for stupid infractions too. Like, it shouldn't be that much time that they're given for the things that they're doing time for.
Well, yeah, one of the things was I wanted to touch base off was cannabis. We have these rich, wealthy whites in America who invest in cannabis stock.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, people are still incarcerated for that.
Right.
Systemic racism. I mean, everyone knows what that is.
The Black Wall Street Massacre that they
Yeah.
don't teach in history. They just surpass all that stuff.
Yeah.
I also like how like in movies like Black Panther,
Yeah.
when he went into the not Black Panther, the other guy, when he went into the museum,
Yeah.
and he said, "I want these," and she was like, "Well, these aren't for sale." And he was like, "How do you think you got it?"
Mm-hmm.
I like that, because
Yeah,
that's the truth. They want to act like, oh,
when it comes to, like, remember like the looting that was going on and the protesting, like, Black people didn't learn that from ourselves. Like, we learned that from America.
yeah,
Like, America was built off violence
yes,
and
lies,
takeover and lies and stolen land.
and slavery.
The massacre, right? It had 15,000 blacks who were homeless, right? 300 to 3,000 were killed, wounded, and missing. 1,500 homes were burned to the ground. Over 600 black-owned businesses in 35 square block areas were bombed. You know what I mean? And this happened in Oklahoma in 1921. Now, I feel that once you make it, and you start becoming wealthy, this is when they wanna hate. This is when they wanna come after you. You mean that's my opinion.
I think so too,
And
but
it's
not
like at
just
some
one.
point,
It's when there's
Black Wall Street
lot
was
of them.
the richest, most wealthiest,
Area.
area or community, you know what I mean, in that era.
It's
So
terrible. And also, who was the head of the FBI back in the days? Well, there's a quote from him that they said, "Who do you think? What is the most deadliest, or to America?" And he said, Black organized communities.
Yeah. Here's the thing, right? No white owners of slaves in the past are alive right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, what's gonna make America better is like demolishing this systematic, racism, the systemic racism, because we're not like we as people of color are not blaming, we're not blaming your we're not blaming your ancestors, but it's like if you're following your ancestors,
Right,
like
then you're at fault too.
you're at fault. You're part of the problem. It's like goes back to the Civil Rights Act in 1964, segregation, right? And that law made it like an issue to discriminate. Like it's like I was saying in part one, where I was like, shit ain't gonna be the same
No.
unless we start changing the way we are, because the world is the people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you can't expect I mean, like, it's difficult to expect, all right, I have to change, but so does that person. And that person doesn't think that they have to change. That's what's frustrating. That there's still people out there with that mentality.
I mean, as Black people, right, we should tap into our, our native abilities. You know what I mean? Like Haiti was the first Black independent nation, declaring its independence in 1804. There's no Latin American revolution without the Haitian Revolution. It's like the prequel. And this country was rich off not paying slaves. If you think about it, there was no insurance. There's no benefits, no vacation, personal sick days. You know what I mean? It's like over 400 plus years of not paying people free labor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like Blacks were stock. They were traded, sold, and bought.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's like what I was saying in part one. There's nothing we could do about discrimination and
We could do
what's
something
going
about
on. No, there's
discrimination.
nothing we could do about it, because here's the thing: people can't discriminate publicly. Like before the Civil Acts was passed, fuck you, nigger, like all this Martin Luther King and Malcolm X era. Because of that law, it's like if it's like in our case, right? In our case, our privilege is if we're in the workplace and your boss uses that term, you get in HR involved or whatever,
right.
You get a lawyer, they're not just going to be fired, like they're going to be scrutinized like publicly, and the company will put this stigma on them where they don't want to deal with them because of that. But like our privilege is I could call a white person a cracker. I'm not going to get reprimanded for it. And we go back to when I was talking about part one with the institutional bias. When these judges, because they're mostly white, if you look at it, like people of power are mostly white.
Yeah, but that's changing, thank God.
It's starting to change, because like we're all coming together, and that's the biggest thing, like that's making noise, and like I was saying in part one, like we tear each other down more than any other race. Yeah. And that's the problem.
Yeah, that is. I don't know why.
You know what I mean? Like that's part of the problem.
Yeah, we should
so
unify.
Like it's like I remember when Popeyes came out. Like, look at how many Black and Hispanic people were buying Popeyes and making Popeyes so famous and shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? The worst shit ever. All this processed food. Popeyes. Like, if Blacks and Hispanics work together, like they
support each other,
like they do that way, or with the electric slide and the wobble, those dances, like, you know what I mean? We can make some noise.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be wealthy. You know what I mean? Like Kanye West and Jay-Z and Beyonce to do something.
Make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
You know what I mean? Every little thing, you know, whether people protesting however they want to protest, voice, you know, going out, marching, posting on your social media constantly. But like I was saying in part one, it has to be consistent.
Right.
Because if
you
it's
can't
not
just do
consistent,
it one day and nothing.
if it's not consistent, nobody's gonna respect you. Like we're gonna forget about it a month from now, 2 months from now, a year from now, and this is gonna happen again. So
I mean, it's not like it's changed.
The biggest thing that needs to happen is accountability. Because if these cops are getting away with this shit, the other cops are gonna feel like
they could do it too.
But things are starting to change with the new laws of you know, Cuomo, New York's governor, you know, implementing the force and the banning of the chokehold. You know, so with Eric Gardner, like, you know, all that stuff like should have been, you know, implemented a long time ago.
Well, you know? I mean, because the chokehold is illegal to use, so I don't even know why they were using it.
Yeah.
It's like they like that gentleman, you said his name, he was shot at Wendy's. He was running.
Rayshad?
Yes.
Yeah, Rayshad
They're not
Brooks.
It's illegal to shoot someone in the back when they're running because they're not posing a threat. They are running away from you.
Yeah, I saw multiple videos like that.
Yeah, I don't.
And these cops are not getting reprimanded. They're getting
one got fired. So
they're getting fired. No, they
they need to get charged.
They need to get charged.
100%.
They need to get charged.
Do you have any other?
This goes back. Hell yeah, I got a lot of shit. Like fucking even fucking sports, yo. Like okay, so I know you're not in a sports fan. Like I'm speaking foreign to you right now. So
I like boxing.
I'm just gonna run through this shit. So Tom Brady.
I know who he is.
Okay, they made him have 6 rings. And you know me, I'm a big conspiracy theorist. I always think sports are rigged. Vegas, mafia, like, you know what I mean? Like, I always urge people to do their own research. So Tom Brady gets his 6th ring. The way my ideology works is the greatest performer in sports, in my opinion, is Michael Jordan. Like, I don't care what anybody says. That's my opinion. Michael Jordan is record MVP finals 6 times. He's never went to a game 7. He doesn't have the most rings. Bill Russell has the most rings with 11. But Michael Jordan never lost the finals. So to me, that puts him in the greatest performing status. Now, Michael Jordan is a black man. Tom Brady gets 6 rings. So it's like, this is like, I feel, white supremacy's plan to kind of put us, you know, on the equal plateau or above. Because if he gets his 7th ring next year, whatever it is, because they're still talking about opening up NFL in September.
But I thought that he is not a Patriot anymore.
He's not, but he's, you know,
but he's still playing.
He's still playing.
That shit don't count. I guess it does.
You know what I mean? And that brings me to another point. Matt Gronin, I think I'm saying his last name right. Matt Gronin is the writer for The Simpsons. Now, I don't believe in fucking coincidences. I don't believe in accidents. People, like, I've seen the hashtags and memes of things that are happening now that were in The Simpsons prior. Years prior. And like I said, I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe this guy's a time traveler or anything like that. And one of the things that he had on The Simpsons was the Patriots in 2016
winning,
coming back to beat Atlanta. Now, mind you, I saw that Super Bowl. I watched it rigorously. And when I watched it rigorously at my friend's house, because he threw a Super Bowl party, Patriots were down 28-3, 25 points going into the half. Now, I said to like the friends and everybody that was there. It was a whole bunch of people there. I was the only one that said that I'm surprised because usually NFL, they don't allow an MVP, because Matt Ryan was an MVP that year, to win a Super Bowl.
Why not?
It's, I don't know, it's some type of stuff they have, some type of
Wow.
tradition.
So he was the first one?
So he was the first one. He didn't win. That's what I'm saying. I think they looked at the statistics and they were just like, let's turn this around.
Make them lose.
Not only that, it was in The Simpsons that they came back. A Super Bowl had never went to overtime, and that goes into overtime. These guys don't score. They remember, Patriots were down 28-3. They scored 25 unanswered points. Take it to overtime. They get the coin toss. They win the coin toss. They drive and they score. Tom Brady gets 5 rings at the time. He's the GOAT. Who was the GOAT before? Who were they saying the GOAT before? Anything. Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan. Another thing, Tom Brady and Roger Kraft, who's the owner of Patriots, they went publicly saying that they not only love Donald Trump, they're very good friends with him. I find it to be coincidental. Well, it's not really coincidental. Quotations that Donald Trump has been in office since 2016 to 2020, and the Patriots, ever since 2016, has been in the Super Bowl 4 straight. That's not a coincidence to me. The goal to try to make him the GOAT, to try to eradicate or kind of tarnish Michael Jordan's career. This is white supremacy. Yeah. This is white supremacy. So it's like, it's happening even in sports.
Yeah. Talking about sports, though, it's funny how you and I were having a conversation and we said, that the players, basketball players and football players, all sport players shouldn't participate
this season or next season.
And some of them are saying the exact same things.
And they are, but at the end of the day, they're under contract. It's not really up to them. It's up to the owners, and most of these owners are white. So it's it's almost like plantation all over again.
And I also saw, this is what's heartbreaking. I get all my news people from Instagram. So I saw on Instagram a little girl who was walking in the park with her mom, and a cop car pulled up. She instantly put her hands up and started crying because she thought that they were going to get shot, that they did something wrong. And then I saw another one. A little boy was playing, basketball in his front, yard or whatever. And then you see him look over. Then he hid behind his parents' car because a cop car was coming. And then he looked to make sure that they were gone and kept playing basketball. That's heartbreaking. Yeah. The children of America should not think I have to hide from the police because they might shoot me. That's not what what we have taught our children.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how it's been.
I never had good run-ins with cops. Being from Flatbush.
I never have either.
I've had cops we're looking for somebody. And I saw the guy and they're like, you know where he is? And I'm like, no, I don't know. At 12 years old. I never looked at the cops as they're gonna help me out. Yeah. Because of things that I've witnessed in media at a young age. So it's always that level of fear for a person of color. Yeah. You're driving and then you witness the rearview mirror, you see those flashing lights. That's
automatically there's anxiety.
You have that, my freedom might be taken away right now. Whereas
and you could
it's not the same.
Perfectly clean, have everything perfect, your license perfect, no tickets, you don't have blood on you, nothing, perfect, and it's still oh my God, the same thing happens to me.
I have a medicinal card, so
so do I. I had mine first.
Even if I have blood on me, but
how they get different sentences for for the exact same crime. People get different sentences. So, Tanya McDowell, she lied about the school district she lives in because she wanted her 6-year-old to go to a better school.
And she's black.
She's
just
black.
So people are aware.
And she was homeless at the time. She was sentenced to 5 years because she wanted her child to go to a better school district. And she was homeless, no less. But Felicity Huffman, actress, Caucasian actress, she paid $15,000 to an SAT test administrator, so to allow her daughter to cheat so that she could go to a prestigious school.
Here's what's gonna have to change.
And she got 14 days.
Here's what's gonna have to change, because I saw something. Justin Timberlake, like I think it was like last month or 2 months ago, he offered to fund the protesters, the ones that were
I think I did see that too,
or something like that. And he had a lot of his Caucasian fans angry. And it's like, even if you're gonna lose fans, endorsements, sponsorships, and shit like that, like white people, they need to speak out more. They need to do more. They need to utilize their white privilege.
Like a big change.
They need to utilize their white privilege to make, you know what I mean, to make change, to affect change in a positive way. Because if you know something is wrong, you know, like you were talking about in part 1 with the police officers. Like I said, there's some good cops out there, and you were saying that if you're a good cop and you're not checking your partner, then you're a bad cop.
Yep.
Well, the same type of scenario should you know, be induced with the with these, you know, other people.
Yes.
Of, you know, these white people, whether you're a celebrity or not. You know what I mean? Like,
checking their
utilize
friends.
your white privilege in a positive way. You know
even you know, Hispanics, Latinos, we have to because a lot of, you know, our parents were, you know, racist too. They didn't like, and for whatever reason, but you have to now you have to re-educate them.
They were trying to vaccinate
start
blacks
with the black
first.
community.
They wanted to go in Africa and shit like that. And I'm not for vaccination. I never been for it. So like, for me to witness that, it's like, why does it have to be the blacks first?
Yeah.
Like, what are in these
like,
needles?
Why them? Why not, you know, start with your own people?
Yeah.
No, but I totally understand what you're saying with that. And
you have any final thoughts
on racism? I could go on and on forever. It needs to be gone. It needs to not come back. We need to stop. You know, whoever's teaching their children that, cut that shit out, because they're gonna come back and they're gonna. I've seen that too. The little white girl checking her parents, like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Well, my final thoughts are this, right? If you have black friends, have black children, black family, black siblings, a black lover, black or person of color who's your partner, a black panther, a black cat, a black dog, a black vehicle, a black remote, a black television, you like wearing black clothing, listening to black music, eating black food, dancing black styles of dance, this is your fight as well. This is your fight as well. You know, we're witnessing these cops lynching these black women and black males, and we could turn the other cheek or whatever, but that's you. You know what I mean? Like, they are you and you are them. You know what I mean? That's the mentality you have to have. This shouldn't be something nonchalant. This should enrage you. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel about it.
That you shouldn't stay quiet for that just because it doesn't affect you. I agree. Okay. Thank you for tuning in to your Discipline Therapy podcast.
Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.